Hey guys, welcome to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson, and we are starting a new series on meal planning. And what gave me this idea, Adam, this morning I did a long post kind of reminiscing about the origins of flexible dieting. And when in the early 90s, I was literally just sitting down with a calculator and food labels looking at why do people give out these meal plans? Why are they so rigid? Why is this person in this magazine article saying you have to eat this and you can only eat these foods? So way back in the day when I started the beginnings of what became macronutrient-based tracking, the next obvious steps were, well, if you're going to completely throw away meal planning as a dogma and you're just going to do math and tell people they can eat whatever they want flexibly, you run the risk of still having no structure or moving too far away to no structure. So this is where I think it's really important that people understand that even within flexible dieting, macro tracking, you should have some principled ways of eating because we're still dealing with biology, the physiology of you having your best workouts, your best performance, your best body composition changes. So what I want to do is go through meal by meal exactly what this would look like. But just as an overall theory and concept and looking at macros, what are your first thoughts when you think of meal planning?
Yeah, well, I always want to rewind back and say calories and macros are going to be the most important factor before you tackle meal timing. And oftentimes I'll get new clients that ask about timing and they're still missing their macros by 20 or 30 grams. They're just not ready for that next step yet. But the first 2 weeks of me working with a client is getting them adherent with their macros and then moving on to better pre and post workout timing for performance and to hit their goals better. So this is something that we usually go over within the first 2 to 4 weeks of working together. And then we kind of move on from there. And we hope that those clients understand those concepts, why they're important. And this will be a great podcast to do to reinforce that.
Yeah, and everybody watching or listening, we're going to get into specifically pre-workout nutrition, post-workout nutrition, all of the nuances about, when you may want to add something here or there. What if, for example, if your pre-workout meal is your first meal, breakfast, because you train in the morning? Or conversely, what if you train at night? So we're going to get into all of that. But first, I want to reemphasize exactly what Adam just said, having the right kind of plan and just understanding that we are proponents of flexible dieting, obviously, and using some if it fits your macros type language and application in having that level of flexibility. But there is still much, much room for having structure that literally helps you. I say this every time we talk about meal planning, Adam, but I haven't competed in more than a decade and a half. And yet 80 to 90% of my meals are still the same. They're still structured. I change them from time to time. But if you look at every single thing I've eaten this week, 5 out of my meals every day have been identical. And then I'm kind of flexible in the evening based on what we're doing. And that's simply because it works. It works for my body goals. It makes it very predictable. It's simply the best thing for my health and my training.
Yeah, there's less room for error the more structured you are as well. The more new things you're introducing, there are variables, whether the food source or quality is good. Those can make a small impact over time.
Yeah, and what works best just works best. If you figure out this is how I feel my best pre-workout, this is what I know helps me recover, why would you change that? And so again, you may from time to time wanna experiment a little and so forth and keep reaching for better ways, but once you have a formula that works, man, it's important to use that to its fullest advantage.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, well, stay tuned, and we're going to roll right into our first episode the next episode in this series on pre-workout meals. So stay tuned. We'll see you next time in Contest Prep University.